What is up, you guys? My name is Ari and welcome to my channel. It is brand new. I've never had a channel that I'm consistent with and proud of and willing to put out great content before. Like, I've had a couple YouTube channels before, but it was never anything really good. It was like one of those channels where you would make like lyric videos, and like no shade to people who do that because like I appreciate those, and that was like all my middle school years I used those until I had Spotify, and now I have Spotify and it's great, and like yeah. But, you know, when you get older, you want to make content that's better. I want to put out great content that is just good. Enough with me rambling. My name is Ari, welcome to my new channel, and basically on this channel you can find story times, challenge videos, probably some creepy videos, conspiracy theories, whatever basically comes out of my brain is going to come out onto this film. So if you like what you're watching and you like what I'm saying, go ahead and like, subscribe, share, whatever you gotta do, please go ahead and do it. Thank you so much, it really helps a lot. So let's get into this story. So I wanted to start with a story because I don't like necessarily when YouTubers start their channels with like a 25 facts about me kind of thing, and like there's nothing wrong with that, and like I just personally, I'm not a fan. So I want to start with a story, and this story in particular, I feel like gives you a lot of insight to me as a person. So this happened when I was a freshman in college, like most of my stories do. A lot of my stories I'm probably going to tell on this channel will happen during my freshman year of college, because that was just an absolute shit show. So, when I was a freshman, I was 19, and I have this really good friend of mine, her name's Kayla. And she's been dating her boyfriend Jake for like, I don't even know how long at this point, years. Let's say like 5 years. I think it's been 5. So, they've been dating forever, and Jake lives 2 hours away from us. So, you know, obviously she has to like drive back and forth to go see him, whatever. But I was really single at the time, and so was Jake's friend, his best friend. So we're gonna rename this friend so like if he sees this he doesn't get offended. And like no shade to him now if he ever does see this, like I have nothing against him. I hope he's happy, I hope he's doing well, all that. But like anyway, so we're gonna call him let's call him Steve. So Jake's friend Steve was lives in the same town that Jake does, and like they're really good friends, they're best friends. Like Kayla and I were really close at the time, and she had this great idea to set up me and Steve. So I had started talking to Steve out of Kayla's recommendation, and like we were, you know, getting pretty close, things were hitting it off, whatever. And eventually he came up to see me at my school. And like things were good, we, you know, decided we liked each other, we're like, alright, we're gonna date, cool. So, this story is about the time that I first went to go see Steve, and how I almost died on the way up there. So basically, where I'm from is the Chicago suburbs, but I go to school towards the city. So, Chicago, if you've never been, has a lot of transportation, a lot of different ways to get around the city and get out of the city and things like that. Like, there's Greyhound, there's Amtrak, there's buses of all kinds, there's subways, there's trains, there's a lot of different kinds of trains. So I had this great idea that I wanted to go see Steve for his birthday, which was in December. So it was, I think, the week before finals, which was the worst idea for me to do, because it was like the weekend before finals, and I needed to like be studying, because like that's what you do when it's finals week, but like apparently I'm just not a good student at all, and I just decided I didn't want to go, or I didn't want to study, because like, why would I do that? Anyway, so it was Steve's birthday, and I was trying to figure out, okay, how could I get up there to go see him? So I told my mom that I want to go see him, and I'm at school at this point, and like now I come home every weekend, and I work on the weekends, but back then I hardly ever came home on the weekends. And I tell my mom I want to go see him, and she's like, absolutely not, there's no way you could get up there, not a good idea, blah blah blah. And my friend was like, what are you talking about? You could take the Amtrak. Which, if you don't know what the Amtrak is, it's basically a train that goes all across America, and you can find a train pretty much from any station and to anywhere. So very much like a Greyhound, just a train instead of a bus. You get the idea. So I was going from Chicago up to Michigan. When I told my mom this, she was not happy. She was like, nope, no way, I don't think so. You're not staying up there. Plus, here's the other thing. He was also in college, but he was a senior in college. So he had an apartment with, I think, 3 other people. Like 2 guys and a girl, I'm pretty sure. So they were living in this apartment, and she was like, there's no parents there, there's no supervision, whatever. No way. And, you know, at the time, I didn't listen to her. I probably should have, because now I look back on it and I'm like, ugh, why did I not listen to her? And I was like, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna go. So I booked a train ticket, and I told Steve, I almost said his real name. Oops. I told Steve I was coming up there, and I told him what days and whatever, and he was all excited. He's like, I'm so excited for you to come, you know, whatever. I don't tell my mom that I'm going. I'm like, I'm gonna go, and she's gonna see him, blah, blah, blah. I do, however, tell my roommate, all the people on my floor, my RA, and my brother. So, I took a train out to the city, and then from the city train, I went to the other station to get on the Amtrak. So I get on the Amtrak, everything's fine, I get to the right train, I find my seat, and I'm like all worried that I'm not gonna get on the right train or whatever, and that didn't happen. I was totally fine, whatever. I sit down, everything's fine. It was about a 4-hour ride or so. So, we're riding along, whatever. I'm like on my iPad watching TV or Netflix or whatever I was doing at the time. All of a sudden the train stops, which I had made several stops, and we had already gotten to the point where I think we were in Niles, Michigan at this point. We had already gotten to Niles. And all of a sudden, I look out the window next to me, so I'm like sitting by myself, and I'm sitting in the window. I see these 2 people run off the train, like freaking out and screaming and running. And I'm like, what is going on? So the train stops. It doesn't move at all. And there are conductors coming by, you know, trying to make sure everybody's okay. And I'm like, what is going on? So the lady sitting across from me, she looks over and she's like, are you okay? Do you want to come sit by me? Like, it sounds like something serious is going on. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I come over and sit by her. She turned out she was a mom. She was a lawyer. Super sweet lady. If this lady ever sees this video, I just want to thank you so much, because I really appreciate everything you did for me this night. And you guys will find out why in a second. So another conductor comes by, but this time they come with a passenger. And apparently what had happened is the car in front of us, someone, I believe he turned out to be a veteran and he had PTSD. I'm not throwing any shade or saying anything negative about veterans or anyone who has PTSD at all, okay? I'm not saying that anyone who has PTSD would normally do this, but this is just this particular situation. I'm just telling a story. So this passenger came by, and her arm, she like had her arm out like this, and her arm was bleeding, like gushing blood. Like there was just a huge stab wound on her arm, and she was like screaming. So apparently this passenger had stabbed, I think 2 or 3, I don't know exactly how many passengers, but like 2 or 3 passengers and the conductor in his episode of PTSD. And people with PTSD are not people to be afraid of. Veterans are not people to be afraid of. I'm not saying any of that, just as a disclaimer. This is just one particular person with one particular mental illness that was not being helped for it, and this unfortunately happened, and I honestly feel so awful for this veteran and so awful for these people. But at the time, you know, it was really scary. So I'm sitting with this lady, and all of a sudden the police come on board, and I'm like freaking out because I'm not supposed to be there in the first place, remember? Remember, I hadn't told my mom where I was. Nobody except, you know, the people back at school and my brother knew where I was. So, and my boyfriend, of course. So the police come on board, we have to fill out a police report. And that was terrifying. I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never filled out a police report before. I didn't even see what happened. Like, I'm not really a witness. I mean, obviously, I was there, so I guess I was obviously categorized as a witness, but I didn't know what happened. So, the lady next to me is like scrolling through the news, trying to find out what happened, and later on she told me that I believe there was 1 fatality, and everyone else was very wounded and, like, hurt. But I call my brother, and I'm like, so, someone got stabbed on the train or on the car in front of us. It literally happened, like, here's the car I was sitting in, here's the car in front of me. It was in this area. And I call my brother and I'm like, so I don't know what to do. And he's like, all right, just calm down. Whatever. You'll be fine. They already took care of it. You're fine. Don't worry about it. I was supposed to get there, I think at like 8 o'clock. I don't think I ended up getting there until like 10 or 11. Something like really late. To Steve's house. I forgot what I called it for a second. Because we had to wait for the train to like get done. You know, everybody get off. And we had to wait for another train. He ended up having to pick me up in Kalamazoo rather than where he was supposed to pick me up, which is in Grand Rapids. He no longer lives in Grand Rapids, so I think it's okay for me to say, because he went to school out in Grand Rapids. Oh my god. This lady, though, was so sweet, and she stayed with me the entire time and made sure I was okay, and she was like, I'm not leaving you until you get with your boyfriend. I want to make sure that you're okay. And she did. She really did that entire time. She was so sweet. So, I tell my brother I'm fine. I'm with Ryan. I'm with Steve. Oh, God. I tell my brother I'm fine. I tell him I'm with Steve. Whatever. Whatever. And everything was fine. Up until people started tagging me in news reports about that incident. And my mom almost saw. And she eventually found out. I don't remember exactly when I told her. I think it was last year. I was like, hey, Mom. So you know that one weekend I snuck out to Michigan when you told me not to? And at that point she couldn't do anything about it, but if she had known at the time, she would have killed me. So here, my friends, is the lesson for you. If your parents tell you not to do something, don't do it. Like, it probably is a really bad idea. And be careful when you're traveling alone. Always have someone know where you are and what you're doing. And preferably have people meet you on the other side. It's always safer that way, especially if you're traveling alone. Alright guys, well that is the story for today. I will be back with other stories and other videos in other weeks to come. So if you like what you see, please subscribe. Thanks so much.